Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. Just a few hours ago, the Fulton County, Georgia District Attorney, Paul Howard Jr., charged former Atlanta police officer Garrett Rolfe with murder in addition to 10 other criminal charges. If convicted, Rolfe faces execution. The alleged crime at the heart of it is the shooting of a suspect called Rayshard Brooks. We told you the details of it 2 nights ago. Last Friday, Rayshard Brooks passed out drunk in the drive-thru lane of a Wendy's in Atlanta. Brooks's car was blocking traffic, so restaurant employees called the police. They arrived, Rolfe and his partner. They woke Brooks and they asked him if he had been drinking. Brooks admitted that he had been. Officers then moved forward with a textbook DUI arrest, nothing unusual. But when they tried to take Brooks into custody, Brooks started swinging. He fought the officers to the ground and then snatched a taser from one of them and tried to use it against Officer Rolfe. When Brooks raised the taser to fire, Rolfe shot and killed him. Here's some of the video.
Hey, sir. You right? Dude, you're sitting in the drive-thru line here.
Blah, 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 blah. Stop. Very good.
I just had a few drinks. That's it.
How many?
1.5. Like I said, I was into the second cup. I told her, babe, let's go because I'm hungry.
What kind of drinks did you have?
I'm not sure. It's something she ordered. She said top shelf or whatever.
Right.
Just take me home. I'm ready to go.
So you had about 1.5 drinks, but you don't remember what kind of drinks they were?
No, sir.
All right.
I really don't, Mr. Rolfe.
All right. I think you've had too much to drink to be driving. Put your hands behind your back for me. Here, put your hands behind your back. Hey, stop fighting. Stop fighting. Stop fighting. Stop fighting. You're going to get tased. You're going to get tased.
Stop. Mr. Rolfe.
Stop.
Come on, man.
Stop. You're going to get tased.
Mr. Rolfe.
Hey, hands off the taser. Hands off the taser. Stop fighting. Hands off the taser. Stop fighting. Taser. 63.
After the shooting, Officer Rolfe tried to keep Rayshard Brooks alive. He performed CPR on the man he just shot.
Mr. Brooks, keep breathing. Mr. Brooks, keep breathing for me.
Mr. Brooks, keep breathing, Rolfe said. Keep breathing for me. No matter how much you look at these videos or how closely, it's a tragedy every time. A father of 3 girls is dead. The question is, was it murder? Ask yourself, how do you think you would do, regardless of what color you are, if you snatched a cop's taser and tried to shoot him with it? Most likely you'd be dead. No one would march in your memory. No one would burn a building in your name. No one would consider your death controversial, much less a racial act. That's what happens when you attack police officers with their own weapons. Everyone knows that. But in this case, things are very different. Officer Rolfe is facing the death penalty. He's been charged by a DA who's under enormous political pressure to prosecute. The mob wants vengeance now. They've expressed that by burning the Wendy's where Rayshard Brooks died to the ground. They've committed violence. Will they commit more if he's not charged? That has to be weighing on Paul Howard. And not just that. Paul Howard is fighting for his job. Howard is facing a runoff election soon. Howard is also being investigated for sexual harassment and for stealing money from a nonprofit. So Paul Howard has every reason to change the subject and to bow immediately to the mob's demands, and that's what he's doing. During his press conference today, Howard described Rayshard Brooks, the man who went berserk on 2 police officers and knocked them to the ground, as, quote, jovial. Watch Howard's statement here and compare it to the video we just played you.
Mr. Brooks, on the night of this incident, was calm, he was cordial, and really displayed a cooperative nature. Secondly, even though Mr. Brooks was slightly impaired, his demeanor during this incident was almost jovial.
Jovial. You just watched the tape. Calm and cooperative are probably the first words that came to mind, especially the part where Brooks grabbed the cop's taser and fired it at him. Just 2 weeks ago, this very same prosecutor, the one you just saw, Paul Howard, noted at a press conference, and we're quoting, "A taser is considered a deadly weapon under Georgia law." Whatever. That was then. By the way, it was a taser. It could very easily have been Officer Rolfe's gun. Brooks would not have known the difference between a pistol and a taser in the middle of a brawl. Had that been the case, Officer Rolfe would be dead right now, and you never would have heard the story because no one in the media would have cared enough to tell you. Still, the prosecutor would like you to know that Mr. Brooks was cordial and no threat at all.
Mr. Brooks never presented himself as a threat. At the very beginning, he was peacefully sleeping in his car.
Just a guy peacefully sleeping in his car, and now he's dead. So why were the cops hassling a man who was just peacefully sleeping? Well, the prosecutors suggested why. Take a guess.
Officer Rolfe actually kicked Mr. Brooks while he laid on the ground, while he was there fighting for his life. Officer Brosnan actually stood on Mr. Brooks's shoulders while he was there struggling for his life. The demeanor of the officers immediately after the shooting did not reflect any fear or danger of Mr. Brooks, but their actions really reflected other kinds of emotions.
Oh, it reflected other kinds of emotions. Got that? We know what's coming next, guaranteed. They're going to tell us this was a racially motivated killing. And maybe they can prove that it was. We're always open-minded. But at this point, we very much doubt it. There is zero evidence of that so far. In the absence of evidence, Paul Howard should not say things like this at press conferences. It makes people hate each other. It tears the country apart, which is the last thing we need right now. Atlanta's police department is 58% black. That's a higher percentage of black people than the city of Atlanta itself. So explain how systemic racism is responsible for this shooting, and speak slowly so we can understand. Cops in Atlanta know exactly what's going on and what's likely to happen next. There are reports tonight that many of them have walked off.
Great senators. Hi, Chuck. He used to love me when I was a Democrat, you know.